Hi, hello, and welcome to my Flosstube channel. My name is Amanda Mae, and this is my channel dedicated to needlework, like counted cross stitch, and I love saving the stitches. I love really anything with needle and thread. I love to show saving the stitches. I love to talk all things needlework. So I'm so happy that you came to join me today. I design under the name Ardith Design, and you can find my designs and my blog and a little more about me over on my website, which is ardithdesign.com. If you're new to my channel, welcome, and if you're returning, I'm so happy you came back to spend a little bit of time with me today. It has been a bit of time. I think my longest break in between making videos is this one, between last one when I filmed out in the garden and this one for me here today. So I am going to start, the very first thing we're going to talk about is cross stitch right now. And then if you would like to stay for personal life update, I will do that afterwards and I'll let you know in between segues. Okay, so counted cross stitch, woo! All right, I have 2 starts and I have I have 2 works in progress that are brand new since the last time I filmed. I have 1 totally done project, so a finish, but it's not fully finished, but it's finished. And then I have 1 work in progress that I showed you all. I was working on it before. And anyway, so I have 4 things to show you and a small little stitching gift that I got from a friend. So we're gonna start with that. All right, so my first thing is a finish, and it was a quick little finish. I purchased a kit at the thrift store, and someone had actually stitched the full kit, and anyway, so it had the leftover threads and the pattern, and so I purchased it. It's a Mary Englebright. She licensed for this little chart. It's very small. It just says love. But what I really like about this stitch is that it has fractional, and so at quarter and full stitches, and then it has back stitches with 1 strand and back stitches with 2 strands. So there's a lot going on in a small little chart design. And so this was it wasn't a start and a finish, a SAF. It wasn't a start and a finish because I worked on it over 2 nights. But it's on a piece of fabric. As you can see, I love to save all my little pieces of linen because you never know when one will come in handy. So here is my finish of the design. I mixed up a couple of the colors, so I said that's okay. So I had purple here instead of the red, and then the red instead of the purple. I flip-flopped the flowers, but that's okay. It was an accident. It wasn't on purpose, and that's okay. So here is my design. Here's my finish. Here's the back. And again, it's stitched on a 14 count Aida fabric. It's like a light blue. It has some modeling to it. It's one of those, it's like printed on one side, but not printed on the other. If that makes sense, like where they actually digitally, like they print the modeling so it looks like it's been hand dyed, but it's really not. So these were the bits of thread left over, the floss left over. And then I used my own DMC 725 for the love because there wasn't enough from the other one. And I think it looks just great. So I'm not sure how I'm going to finish that. And it was cute and simple and fun. And I think I paid maybe 25 cents at the thrift store for the little chart. Why not? My next project is so it's a new start, but you might be familiar because you'll see, well, let me just show you. All right. Okay, so I decided to do my own thread color conversion, and I'm using, these are Color and Cotton over dyed floss. Angela of Color and Cotton. I belong to 3 of her clubs. I get 3 skeins each from each club each month. So I get a total of 9 skeins per month. So with shipping, it comes out to about $27 American each month. And it's the one little treat that I I have for myself, because, you know, kids are like constantly need shoes and constantly need, because they're constantly growing. Like I don't need this, you know, this is my one little treat that I do. So I buy these. So what I do with my threads, so they come all nice and packaged, and she puts them like in these nice zips with the label and the da-da-da-da. Well, what I do is I'll take out, so here, like seahorse is one of my colors, but I write on the back, I wrote personal, and it's from the Bright Colors Club, and then I write the month, August 2021. So I write personal on there because I design, and what I purchase retail and use retail are, you know, all my threads and floss for my own personal stitching. And then I have colors that are sometimes specifically just for designing. So I write personal on all of them. So and then I'm using all of the special edition, not all of them, but her special editions, like they're not available on the website, I think is what it is. So I have Gecko, Portobello, Salinas, which I guess that kind of sums up my feelings on Salinas. No, not really. I shouldn't say that. So Salinas is part of Monterey Bay County, which Salinas is considered the salad bowl capital of the world. So they're like one of the largest like lettuce producers in the United States. And then right outside of Salinas is like Castroville, which is the artichoke capital of the world. And they also do a lot of the escargot there, which gets shipped over to France. But the artichoke, so they have an artichoke festival every year, and that's where Marilyn Monroe, she was an artichoke queen way back when she was Norwegian. But then there's also Watsonville, which is the hub of strawberries. And I mean, there's so many. So when I think of Salinas, I guess I could think of like the fog from the coast, like the coastal fog with this color. But really, when I hear Salinas, I would think of green. So, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, Red Fox. I love this. Red Fox. It's so pretty. This is Pickle. This is Pickle. Old Brick. Moonlight. You're my starlight, I need you. Okay, Sparrow. And Manzanilla. It's really pretty. Okay, what am I stitching, you ask? Okay, so last year I had finished a design. I finished Fairy Garden. This is Fairy Garden from Blackbird Designs, and it's part of the larger series. So this is Fairy Garden. I stitched this with all the called for, but not on the called for fabric. And there's all of these that are part of the collection of the Garden Club series. So this is number 11. And I started stitching it, the garden, and I had said to everyone that I wanted to continue, but I wanted to add not a Garden Club, but another stitch. So this is the one that I had finished last year. And I have this Garden Club series number 2. I don't have any other of the Garden Club series, to be clear. These are the only ones that I have. I don't really want to put this one next. I mean, I could do it someday somewhere, but I don't want it right now on here. So I had said back at market when this had come out, the Sewing Club book, this is from Blackbird Designs. I said, oh man, I really like the Hollyhocks right here. This is one of my favorites from the book, is the Hollyhocks. And I wanted to see if I could put this in here. So I looked at the stitch counts. So this one is 65 stitches wide by 65 stitches tall. So then I looked at the stitch count for the Hollyhock, and I saw that it's not the same, but it's not overly different. So what I ended up doing, there's so many pretty projects. I'm trying to find the Hollyhock one. Well, it's in here somewhere. So I think it's 72 long versus 65 long, which was okay for me if I took out the words Hollyhock, which I did. So this is what I am stitching. The Hollyhock from Blackbird designs from the Sewing Club book with my own color, my own thread conversion, all color and cottons. As you can see, there is like 7 spaces here difference. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull one of the borders from Blackbird and one of the other charts, and then do one of the border down below to link up the sizes, the size difference between the two here. I added this right here in the portobello. I counted over, that way it really looked like a square. Like this one is kind of has demarcated. So over here, I also might just do a little square round just to show. So I still need to add the basket here with the little flowers, and I have like a couple of the leaves to fill in. But this one is almost done and I'm so excited. So I'm stitching this 2 strands over 2 linen threads. And I gave myself way too big of a margin when I did Fairy Garden in the first place. But I think I'm gonna be able, on this side, I'm gonna be able to add one of the smaller pieces from the book, like down the side of it. For instance, there's like a little pear. There's like the little house there, which isn't very wide. There's also, I'm trying to find the little pear. I like the pear. And so it's just like using one of the motifs from it. Oh, here, okay, so here's the hollyhock as charted with the hollyhock on the bottom. So I'm not gonna do that. I left the words out. Okay, so here is like, you can kind of see the pear part, and then there's like a little flower. I could always add just one of those little motifs there. Oh, here it is, the pear. Okay, I like the pear with the bird. So if I can add that to the side and still give myself a margin, so that is 48 stitches wide by 87 stitches tall. So that might be a case where I stitch this top part, but not this bottom part, so that the sizes will line up. Or I'll stitch this whole thing and then make sure the border from the other 2 pieces match up and meet those 2. I'll figure something out. I'm hoping that Blackbird's designs are okay. I'm modifying, but I think it's gonna look really beautiful. And so yeah, that's one of my new starts. I'm just gonna start piling. Oh, let me show you this because it's on my lap. So this is from my friend Grace. She went with me to Nashville Needlework Market. She's amazing, and she gave me 4 other pieces, and I'll show those to you later. Anyway, but I love this one so much, so I wanted to show you. So she bought me this one. She said she got it at an antique store in West Virginia, I think is what she said. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back, and may the Lord hold you in the palm of his hand. So it's got cross stitch, and then it's got embroidery, and it is got the old yellowing, disintegrating tape there. So I have that hanging up, but I wanted to grab it and show all of you that right now. The other project that I'm working on is, this is a reprint of the Prairie Schooler chart, and it is in, it's not the cardstock. So I'm not taking it out of the plastic. So this is Hocus Pocus, and I'm decided to stitch it. I took out the hand here and put the gaze in its place. So I'm stitched down, and then here, instead of the palm, the hand, I added the gaze. I am stitching this with, it's a dark, I had to order more Valdani. So this is a brown black Valdani thread. This is number 173, and it's rich dark brown, 173. I would say it's like 3799 DMC, like the dark. I ordered this on 123 Stitch, and this is where I'm at. I love it. So my favorite orange is Fragrant Cloves by Gentle Art. So that's what the orange is. The green is a color in cotton, I forgot. And then the white is Sulky and it's the 12 weight cotton that I use one strand of the white, one strand, and it make your white stitches, it just looks so perfect. So I love sulky for white for those stitches. So as you can see, I've got to fill in the rest of the orange here. I decided to add this into an orange star versus a black star, which it was. And I added the greens in there versus in the model, it's all black, but I wanted to add a little bit more of the color. And then down here for the bird, I did change out the lock and the pedestal into a purple. So I'm integrating a little tiny bit of color into this. I really enjoy the Prairie Schooler designs and just inserting a little bit of color. I started working again on the Halloween sloth. This was in the Halloween 2021 Just Cross Stitch magazine, and I'm so close to being done. And I should have grabbed the magazine that had the chart, excuse me, but I'm so close. I just got to fill in the face. And this was designed by Wild Violet Cross Stitch, Ryan Mack. So I'm working on this, and this is on a page. I want to say this is a week's linen, but I don't know. It's a scrap. I want to say it is. Yeah, so as you can see, I'm working on Halloween. I took this with me to California, and I started this stitch, and I worked on this on the airplane, on California and back. Started that. So yeah, so there we go. So thank you so much. I'm done talking cross stitch. If you want to skedaddle, I totally understand and appreciate you stopping by to talk counted cross stitch with me. So I'll say thank you and I love you. If you want to stick around to hear personal stuff, great. I'm here. Okay. It took me a long time to film because I have been dealing with a lot of stuff in my personal life. My mother unexpectedly passed away, and I had found out about her passing the day after I posted my video in the garden. I think it was Flosstube 152. I posted that video in the garden where the cardinal was speaking to me, and I had a beautiful encounter with a cardinal bird anyway. The next day I was alerted by the sheriff's department that my mother had passed away, and they found her. And I went with my brother and we went to California, and I tried really, really hard, and I was not able to get her dog. It turns out the dog was not friendly to small children, and I have 2 small children, and so it was devastating, and I had to surrender her. So she was claimed. So the way they found her body, and then they called animal control, and animal control came and got her dog. So she was with animal control, but because I was next of kin, you have to surrender your rights to the animal. So I had to surrender her back to animal control, but she's at a no-kill shelter in Paradise. And that was horrendous. So I want to thank all of you for your warm thoughts and prayers and kindness for all of this. I was with my brother. I'm so fortunate. My brother is amazing. He's 15 years older than me, and with that carries wisdom. So I'm trying so hard to not cry on camera. I know all of you are okay with me being vulnerable. My mother was a complicated lady, but the one thing that she loved was sewing. She lost everything in the campfire back in 2018. And with that, like all of my stuff and my childhood stuff and heirlooms, everything was lost. That's why I have been very adamant on my channel about charting your needle art legacy. letting people know where you want your things to go after you pass on, and having some of the really difficult conversations that many of us don't want to have because people die unexpectedly, natural disasters take out our collections, things happen. My mom, she was one of the first to rebuild in Paradise after the fire, and she'd been in her home about 1.5 years. So when we got to her home, she did have 2 sewing machines, which I kept. And we went through everything, and we ended up donating everything except like the sewing machines and a few mementos. We donated everything to the local church up there that's doing on the ground donations back to the community, because many people that live in Paradise and Magalia and the surrounding Butte County, they're still living in tents or fifth wheels, like they don't have homes. My mom had fire insurance on her house, so she was able, the insurance company, you know, with the fire was able to rebuild. But so many people in Paradise had homeowners insurance, but did not have that rider for fire or wildfire insurance. So many people lost their homes and can't afford to rebuild. The collective trauma that Paradise has faced, it was very palpable being there. The sound of construction equipment, people, but they're rebuilding. During the week we were there, there's just, roads were shut down because they were redoing roads and re-putting in water mains and running. People are rebuilding, and it was amazing to see. So I got my mom's 2 sewing machines, and she had this piece on her sewing table. I don't know anything about it, but I have it now. She also had 2 flags from the town of Paradise. So my brother took one and I took one. And then to remember her, I went to the local store, and I'll link them down below. And this was a bear carved out of some of the fire, the wood, the trees that got, you know, from the fire. So this is a campfire tree, and it's one of the bears. One of the last photos I have with my mom was in front of the Blackbird diner in Paradise with the bears, and I'll insert a picture. So please know that your stitching matters, your legacy matters. You deserve all the joy that every stitch brings to you, your life, and the legacy that you leave behind. And with that, I tell you that I love you, and I'll be back soon. Okay, take care.